Hello, good morning. So today we are going to discuss on a default information originate and default information originate always, right? So first of all, why do we need this default information originate? What is the purpose for this default information originate? Everything has a purpose, right? So in the OSPF, Cisco OSPF, what is the function for this? Okay, where it fit in the real world environment. Suppose I have two ASBR, okay, in a area 0, and on this ASBR1 and ASBR2, two ISP are connected. So most probably, instead of redistributing these routes, right, the internet routes, what we do, we have a default static route, right? Default is static route. So whatever so we are receiving the default route from this RB, okay. And we have a two an ISP thing. So RB is a service provider router. So ISP1 and ISP2, right? So two link with there, it's going to one of the pop of the service ISP service provider ISP. Okay. So ASBR2 is also receiving a route, and ASBR1 is also receiving a route as a default route. So when we sit on the ASBR, if we try to ping something on the google.com, we are able to reach it. If we try to ping something on this default or this Amazon or something like that, we are able to reach it. But the same when we sit on this router and into one or someone in 4 and 5, we try to ping the on the internet something on the internet which is on the default route. We could not go outside of this network because these router have don't any information of the how to exit of the network, right? Only the ABR and SBR has the information how to exit out of the network. So what we are doing, or what Cisco has recommended to do this, you need to have a concept. So we can do the static redistribution also, right? Into the from the static route to the OSPF, from the static route to the OSPF. But this is a default static, and what Cisco comes with, instead of the redistribution and making it a complex, there is a concept called the default information originate. So it will originate a default route over here. Default information originate, default or information originate. So both ASBR, we will go to the both of the ASBR and we will place a default information originate. Okay, so that is a fundamental rule. So where we do the default information originate, it's on the ASBR where we have a static default static route towards the outside world, especially in the ISP, right? So once we do this, we will able to ping the google.com or any of the DNS global DNS 8.8.8, because now we have an exit path, we got a default route. Okay, if we reach this, if we have to go somewhere on the network, then we will use, which we don't have a route, we'll use the default route. For this default route is will be the LSA5, or the external route will be over here. Okay, and who will originate this? The ASBR1 and ASBR2. Okay, so both, so this is what it will be, have a default route information originate. Once this will be done on the, everyone have a default route 0.0.0.0 with as an E2 route. That's a default, right? In the OSPF redistribution, E2 is a default redistribution. Okay, there is one catch in this one default information originate. If the link goes down, suppose this link goes down, okay, this link goes down. Uh, where is that? Sorry, just give a moment. Mm, 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 Suppose any of the link goes down. Mm, mm. Suppose this link goes down. Okay, if this link goes down, still it will originate a E2, that is a 0.0.0.0 LSA5 for the default route. If the link goes down also, so it will, in that case, or if the link goes down and we are using this default information originate, in that case it will not advertise the 0.0.0 as an E2 route. Okay, if this link goes down, the same with this, if this link goes down, in that case also it will not advertise this. So default information originate is only working or is only applicable when we have a default route inside the ASBR, right? If the default route is present in there only, then only the redistribution will be happen with the help of default information originate. If it is not there, then it will be not work, right? So that is one of the condition. So to overcome this, we have a call, something called a default information originate always, right? So this is also, we have we have the keyword always. So in always, what will be done, suppose this ISP link goes down of the ASBR, right? Then still it will advertise the LSA5 0 dot as an external dot 0.0.0.0, right? So it will still advertise. So that is a concern also, and that is overcome for the for the solution also. So it depends, right? If suppose if I have only one ASBR at the side and it's only ISP link, and if we have a two ISP over there, then we will just over the always the default information originate always, right? Otherwise it will flap the link and it will always uh, there is a change in the LSDB and all this the SPF calculation has to be done from the all the routers, right? So it depend on the condition to condition, but the basic fundamental is default information originate is, it will originate a L2 sorry E2 LSA5 when there is a static route is default static route is present. This is a default, it doesn't matter whether a static default static route is present on this router or not, it will still do the generate the LSA5, and all the routers will have a E2 route as a default route. Okay, so I have a condition, we have a two routers over here, ASBR1 ASBR2, we have an ISP1 and ISP1 and ISP2, right? ISP2. Okay, so so my preference is that, okay, by what is the default metric, right? When we do the redistribution of this default, or the default metric is a 1 and the metric type is E2, so we'll leave the metric type E2 as a default, but we'll change the default metric of the ASBR2 as 100. So I want this link to be a more preferable. Okay, so if I want this link to be a more preferable, so it will have a 0.0.0 over this, over this, over this, and it will go to the this area, this area, and this area. And while the return traffic would always take a path from ISP1, right? Because its a metric is 100 is an E2 and its metric is an 1. So this is generally, most probably it's a case. Suppose ABR has to go, it has to choose here and here, it will always choose this side, right? But for this router, it has, if it has to choose this or this, then they needs to do a calculation, right? If this is something like metric is 1, right, then 100 and this metric is 200, right? 1 and 200, instead of going over this will, so we have to calculate the metric like when we redistribute like this only. Okay, so we will do, we should take care of the link, what is the cost of the link. So the traffic from this ASBR should also go via the default information originate. Okay, so we are using the default information originate. In this case, default information originate, we will use not the originate always, because if we are using this key, sorry, this link as a preferred link, and if this link goes down, suppose this link goes down and we are using a default information originate, right, then what would be the case? Still all the traffic will come to over here and there will be a black holing, right? There will be another link, but still instead of going to this link, all the traffic will go to this and there will be a black holing. So in this case, what we will use the default information originate. We will not use the default information originate always. So once if the link goes down, this ISP1 link goes down, then it will remove the external route advertisement from itself, and now the everyone will start doing over here, the traffic will start flowing over here on the ASBR2. So this is one of the thing in the OSPF, default information originate and default information originate always, and where we have to apply this and what is the role of this and what is the difference of it. So yeah, this is a important concept and this is a practical scenario, right? This is a very much we are using it. And if you used to use a default information originate always, right, if you have a uh, from your boss that he said, "Oh, no, we are using the default information originate always," then you need to use a tracking. You have to track the link, right? Once the so you have to use the default information always with the tracking. So if you track the link and the track, after the tracking the link goes down, right, then it will start, then you have to use the other link. Suppose you are tracking this link, right, and use a default information originate always. If the link goes down, then suddenly all the traffic will shift it over there. Okay, so but what is the most convenient way in this case is used to default information originate. Okay, thank you so much.